Okay.
All right, so it's currently recording. All right, so welcome to the Tech and Real Estate Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. She is a real estate agent out in Charleston, and she also is the host of the Charleston Real Estate and Connection podcast. So welcome, Nia Joy. Thank you so much for being on the
Hi,
podcast.
Ariel. Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to be a part of your podcast today. Thank you for reaching out and having me.
Yes, of course. Just a little bit of a background. The way I found your podcast was actually looking at reading this book called Big Shifts Ahead by
Huh?
John Burns. He talks about the migration of a lot of people moving towards the South. So I looked up Charleston in Spotify for real estate. You were the first one that came up, and your content is amazing. So thank you so much for putting content out there. Nia, can you hear me?
Thank you. Wow. Wow. Thank you. I'm excited. It's new to me a little bit. I've been doing Facebook Lives a lot, and I thought, wow, what a great trend to do podcasts along with my YouTube videos, and I'm honored to have some great listeners like you. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. And just for the audience to get to know a little bit more about you, how did you get started in real estate and what keeps you like so interested to be active in it today?
So for me, I actually was in the clinical research field.
Oh,
I
wow.
did that for about 12 years. My background is in health sciences and public health.
Hmm.
So I worked in Hawaii, Maryland, North Carolina, and I pretty much enrolled people in clinical trials is what I did. And I got interested in real estate when my mom purchased a home in Charleston for about $15,000 cash.
What?
Yeah, and this was mid 2000s. So this was after the bubble and everything. And she purchased it cash. It was pretty good condition. And when she told me she purchased it and did her research on it, I was like, wow, I'm excited. I want to do this with you.
Right.
So she and I had a plan to kind of start dabbling in houses once I moved to Charleston. And she was the one that encouraged me to get my license. And so I went and got it while I was working in clinical research.
Hmm.
And I started doing it part time. But before I got my license, she passing away, and I inherited the house. And I decided,
I'm
this
sorry.
is a good thing. Yeah, and it was honestly her passing was really just a push into moving in that direction. And I really think that she would have wanted me to continue with the legacy we got started with. So
Right.
I I got passionate about it, and I left my job and started doing it full time 2 years ago. Um, and here I am. I love it because it allows me to transition the exact same things I was doing in clinical research,
Hmm.
engaging with people. Instead of working with consent forms, I'm working with contracts. And instead of selling, or I was essentially in sales and I didn't know it. But instead of marketing clinical trials, I'm marketing homes for
Right.
sale. And so I enjoy selling homes and helping people reach their real estate goals. And I look forward to investing myself soon. It's just a type of business that had no ceiling, and I felt like I had a ceiling with research, and with
Hmm.
this I don't have a ceiling, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing it, and look forward to building my business.
That's a really good point. And I love how you migrated the skills that you had in your previous job to the current one. So you were
Yes.
able to have that transition really seamlessly. And that must have been a kind of a struggle to, at first, still be in that job and then be doing real estate part-time.
It was a struggle. And to be honest, with a lot of people who start part time, depending on their schedule, I was fortunate to have a husband who was really supportive.
Right.
So I would get off work and go right into working with clients every day. And I had no weekends. And I don't think I mentioned this, but I'm also an officer in the Army part time.
Oh, wow.
So
That's incredible.
yeah, so I'm already balancing that weekend, warrior thing with the military.
Right.
That one weekend taken away from me, I'm still in. Um, And that's one of the reasons why I decided to specialize in working with hometown heroes. And because I was able to work part time, I had a very structured schedule, and it made me execute and actually do really well in my first year.
Right, because you didn't have a lot of time just to like fluff and do other things. So you really
Exactly.
were focusing.
Exactly.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So I really want to get your perspective as well. It's pretty cool that you've traveled to many different states for work as well. So why do you think that people are now migrating to the South so much? Like from the book that I'm reading,
Uh-huh.
says that they project in 2025 for there to be, for all those who are moving, 26% are going to the Southeast. So like to Atlanta, to Charleston, to Charlotte. What can you say about that demographic shift?
You know, South Carolina and a lot of the places in the South. I went to undergrad in North Carolina, so I definitely know this for myself. We have a lot of land. We have a lot of land.
Okay.
Um, and as you know, both states, we're coastal. So we, in Charleston, people love that about us. We have the historical charm here. We have the
Hmm.
water. We have the beaches, the parks, and people love being near nature. We are now in a shift where people are wanting to live off the land. You may see now with the pandemic happening, a lot of people are wanting to downsize or either upsize. Tiny
Yeah.
living, yeah, tiny home living is on the rise, and people would just like to just buy land, and we have a lot of it. Um, we also have a lot of great jobs here in Charleston.
Hmm.
We have Boeing, we have the airport,
Right.
we have Navy, we have Air Force. We're not far from Columbia. We're close to Atlanta. We're close to Savannah. And we're close to Raleigh, Charlotte. So it's a great place to live, and it's affordable when you compare it to New Jersey, and New York and a lot of the upstate states. I have a lot of people coming in from out of town that I work with and do virtual tours all the time because that's what they want.
Yes, of course. I could say as a New Jersey native, a lot of us don't want to move because of having that Jersey Shore culture, being able to go down to the beaches, but I mean, the beaches look fantastic down in Charleston. So it's like a
They
win-win.
do. They do. I love it. I had the option after my husband got in the military. We had the option between Maryland and Charleston, and we chose
Mhm.
Charleston because of the water.
Yeah, that's incredible. I can't wait to go down. I was actually supposed to go down in the beginning of April for a friend's bachelorette party.
Oh,
Unfortunately, it got canceled, but I do plan to go there sometime in the next couple of months, hopefully.
oh man. Well, when you do, you gotta let me know. I know some great Airbnbs you could stay. Let me know. We definitely gotta connect.
Yeah, of course. So I also wanted to ask you a little bit about, since you're saying people are coming from all different areas and you're doing virtual tours, from this book that I'm reading, they're saying that there's two different groups that are coming down potentially, which is the
Mm-hmm.
millennials who are looking to start their families in places that are more affordable, and also some of the baby boomers who are now going towards retirement and want to be close to their grandchildren. So
Yes.
have you seen, like, what type of demographics or age groups have you seen looking to migrate over to your area?
Those same exact ones.
Okay.
For my clientele, I've been really heavy with retirees lately.
Hmm.
I'm working with military retirees who either were stationed here at some point and want to come back. They're either stationed in different states or they're stationed abroad in other countries and they're wanting to move
Okay.
back. I also have some coming from the New England area. They're ready to retire in the South. Same reason. I work with a lot of millennials locally,
Hmm.
but yeah, I can definitely see that. And places like 55 and up communities have a huge affinity here because it's a one-stop shop.
Right.
Um, you get everything you need right here, from things to do. You have community with like-minded people, other retirees, people your age.
Hmm.
Um, you don't have to really drive as much because they can help you with that as well. So it's very attractive for retiring.
Yeah, I bet. And the great weather as well doesn't hurt.
Yes, yes. We have a lot of new areas that are being developed. One is
Hmm.
Nexton, and Nexton slash Cane Bay. It's a huge area. What we do in Charleston is we try to build a lot of communities so that you don't have to leave. So
Right.
like I live in North Charleston. I don't really have to leave North Charleston unless I really want to. Um, there's Somerville, this is the same way, Cane Bay, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Moncks Corner, and the downtown West Ashley area, same way. You don't really have to leave.
That's awesome. I heard even some of these like communities, there's trails as well. So if you're into fitness, you have all of that in one spot.
All right there. And they have lakes. They have lakes that you can paddleboard in and kayaking. That's how big and deep they are.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you done kayaking before?
I have. I actually was fortunate to get turned on to it by my military group that I was a part of. We do a lot of activities outdoors. Because we have the parks, we all went down to the parks and we learned to kayak. Paddleboarding, I'm not very good in yet because it requires the balance, but it's like riding a bike. Once you get a hang of it, it's pretty fun. We have creeks and parks, like I said, in the neighborhoods, like you may have heard of my podcast, like you literally, you can purchase a home that is facing a water view or a wooded view, and it's not that expensive to get the water view like you would think.
Like how much would it be for like a 3-bedroom in those areas?
So in that area for a 3-bedroom, you're definitely looking at the mid, $250,000, $250,000 range. For a neighborhood like that, 3-bedroom, and they go all the way up to 6 bedrooms in that area.
That is excellent.
Yeah, over 3,000 square feet.
For any of these Northeast listeners, please rewind that and listen to that again, because you can have it all for a great price and not have to sacrifice as much as we do in the Northeast and not live in the best places. So
Yeah.
that's great. I also wanted to get your perspective on the shifts that have been happening, of course, with the virus. Do you see that people are maybe looking to purchase an extra room or have a bedroom with an extra room than maybe in the past, like to work from home?
Yes, people are definitely wanting offices and flex spaces. In the South, it used to be highly traditional to have a dining room.
Okay.
And now what builders are doing, and not only builders, but even if you're buying a pre-existing home, what people are doing, like I did, this room used to be my dining room.
Nice.
And it's now my office. And so I need room for the lights and the books and my husband and the printer. And, it's like we now eat in our kitchen, so eating kitchen, we have an eating kitchen and space and an extra space for dining. So we thought, you know what, let's utilize it. And that is the number one thing people want, whether you're retired or have a family. Another thing to add on to that, not only do they want the office space, but they want a home that they can maybe grow in and grow out of, or even stay in for the life of their home. That's usually the goal sometimes, only because you don't really want to have to purchase a lot. But the cool thing is this room I'm in right now can be transformed into a bedroom easily.
That's awesome. So do you see, because people want to be there longer term, are they going more towards like flat homes where there's not 2 levels, or does that not really matter?
It matters more to retirees. And the 1-level homes actually do cost more because the more your square footage extends out, your foundation costs more. So people prefer, so you save money when you buy tall. And so a 3,000 square foot home, all the bedrooms may be upstairs. But the cool thing is they may have a flex space or a master downstairs. You sometimes can get the option. So you can at least stay there and your grandkids can be coming to visit you in that same house.
Yeah, exactly. That's ideal. Do you think there's a potential there, from what you were saying, like a lot of the homes previously had dining rooms, of maybe like a real estate investor coming in, if they're looking to purchase something that they can spice up a bit so that they can increase their cash flow? Could that be them converting that dining room into a flex room?
Oh, for sure. Definitely. And matter of fact, when we write up our descriptions for these homes when we're listing them, we make sure we let them know like all the options you could do, because sometimes when people see homes, they kind of lose sight of, oh, it's a bedroom downstairs, it's not an office. And you say, hey, this can be easily converted into an office. So you make sure you put that in the description and let people know what their options are. And people really, really love that.
Yeah, exactly. And you must have to have these descriptions really tight right now since you can't show people the home in person. So how is it working right now with the virtual home tours?
So to be honest with you, I was actually doing virtual home tours before this happened.
Nice.
Um, I use 3D cameras or sometimes a phone, like FaceTime to do them.
Hmm.
And so for me, it was an easy transition to be able to explain it to my clients and future clients and how it works. But what people really want is to see the floor plan, and that's really hard to see in pictures.
Right.
So wherever possible, we try to get the floor plan. That's why new construction is really booming right now, even
Hmm.
more because you can just see the floor plan. But the cool thing if agents get a 3D camera or maybe do, I think Zillow has this feature as well, where if you do a 3D scan, um, then you actually can get the floor plan from the 3D scan. I use Matterport, and
Okay.
I can do a 3D scan easily, and it takes about maybe 15 to 20 minutes to do.
I am very like new to this whole 3D scan idea. So like how does that work? It's this special camera to do that for?
So yeah, they have the market now is booming with the amount of 3D cameras that are out there.
Hmm.
I actually use um, a Ricoh
Okay.
camera. It's about the height of my phone, but
Okay.
it's not quite this wide. It's maybe like only this wide, and
Hmm.
I screw it onto a stand, and I sit
Yeah.
it in the middle of the room. It's actually like certain points you have to put it at
Hmm.
in order to do the scan. And what it does is when it's doing that scan, it's evaluating, it knows, it sees the windows, it
Hmm.
sees the doors. And if you go upstairs, you tell it that you're going upstairs and it can literally do the scan based on that. And it can literally, on an older home, it can tell you what the layout kind of looks like.
Really?
Um, and you literally, for me, I upload it.
Hmm.
I Yeah, I upload it to an unlisted YouTube link, or I share the link to, or I share the link to the client directly,
Hmm.
and they can see that link because it's not something I want to share publicly if I'm doing it for a private home, but for my listings, that is
Right.
what I do.
How long does that take to put together? So from going from like the first floor to the second floor and then sending it out, is that a long process?
Yeah, it's for me. Well, not really long.
Mm.
I'm used to doing it now, so I'm getting a little faster. So it's
Right.
taking. I never had to do so many, but it's taking time to take to film it, depending on the size of the house. It can be as
Mhm.
little as 15 minutes or as long as maybe 45, depending on the size of the house.
Okay. So say if there was a new real estate agent who was looking to do this as well, like where would they learn how to use these 3D cameras and to get started?
It's actually quite simple. I'm a huge YouTuber, and
Yeah.
I actually learned honestly from the instructions with the camera. There's I believe it's with the app. It tells you what to do.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
It's not that bad. I think it's a mindset thing. If you're scared of the
Mhm.
technology, you won't want to do it. And you can easily hire someone to do this.
Mhm.
It might be more pricey, but for me, I was all about volume. So I know for me, just getting started in the business, it was a better investment for me to purchase the camera, which is about $400,
Right.
and just get started that way.
Yeah, that's excellent that you started it before all this happened because you're already accustomed to it. You didn't have that um, like really quick learning curve that you had to adapt to.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, because think about it, like agents now, either you're gonna freeze and just like do nothing, or you're gonna say, I've got to learn a new skill, and technology is gonna be a part of it. I think I do a lot of Zoom now, um,
mhm.
because Zoom wasn't really. I just use it for meetings. To be honest with you, I never really thought to use it for a short showing.
Right.
And I've also used Facebook video as well, depending on the type of um, medium we had to work with communication wise.
Okay, so different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's excellent what you said, how you force yourself to adapt to this new skill. And it seems like throughout your career, you consistently have done that. Learn a new skill, force yourself to adapt. Um, I might be asking you a little bit later this question, but I'll ask it to you now. So, is there any like advice you would give to those who um, are looking to build that new skill, but they're unsure of how to get the confidence to do it or how to go about it? What piece of advice could you give to them?
For me, it goes down to my why, like how motivated I am. And so I think that's really where it starts because being a part-time agent, if you were doing real estate part-time and this happened, you may say, oh, well, I have a job. I'll fall back on my job.
Right.
For me, this is how I make a living. So fortunately, we do have a two-income household. However, I didn't want to sacrifice my quality of life.
Yep.
And not only that, my husband and I have goals. We have business goals. So for me, just having that constant why and coming back to it, I literally have on my desk right here. I'm at my monitor, but I have my daily prayer and my affirmation of what I need to happen every day. And
That's terrific.
I'm constantly training and learning. So you have to constantly train and learn. For some people, it might be YouTube videos. It might be reading a book.
Right.
I recently took a course, the seven levels of communication.
Mm-hmm.
A local agent, Shakima Chapman, taught this course. She's well known in the area for her the amount of homes she sold, and she pretty much reminded us to focus on the referral-based business and communication and relationships. So I've always kind of done my business that way, but this book teaches you a more structured way of doing it. So I just recommend people building their business and staying motivated by watching videos, reading books, pouring good stuff into your mind all the time. I don't watch a lot of the news. Sometimes I can't help it because of social media. I have to learn what's going on, but the news right now it's just not the best stuff to be putting in your mind. So.
Right. It could be toxic. You want to have things that are going to motivate you. And I love that quote that you have in front of you. Like now I'm thinking about setting that up in my desk because just having a visual as well is really important.
It is.
Yeah.
It really.
And so you mentioned a little bit about like your clients and the relationship there. So is there any technologies or systems maybe that you use in order to keep track of leads or to guide someone from the beginning of their buying process to the end?
Yes. So there's a couple of things. So for me, between tools, technologies, and systems, I try to keep it pretty basic. As a new agent or even a seasoned agent that is trying to maybe revamp what they're doing, I personally think it's easy to get caught up in all the bells and whistles and things that marketers will try to sell you.
Right.
A
lot of noise.
Yeah, it's a lot of noise, especially now because I personally don't buy leads from Zillow and other places. Nothing against them, but I don't. Mainly because when I started the business, I didn't have the money to. And I still really don't have that in my budget to really spend a lot of funds on it because I've learned from my business building that you have to focus on your sphere and you have to focus on attracting people who want to work with you.
Right.
So that's why the YouTube channel and the podcast are important to me because I can provide information and value to people. And so what I do is when I meet these people, a lot of times they go into my client relationship management system or CRM.
Okay.
For some people, that's just a spreadsheet. For me, I have a couple different ones that I use or that I'm transitioning to. Real Geeks, and then now I'm starting to transition to the Buffini and Company's version of their own. So they go in the CRM, and then from there, I reach out to them and try to figure out, well, what is our goals? What are our real estate goals?
Right.
And we develop a plan of action. I usually have a buyer's packet and a seller's packet. And even if I can't get it to them right away, I try to explain to them these are the different things we're going to focus on to get you where you're going. I educate them. And then from there, I do a lot of follow-up.
Right.
Calls, texts, whatever they prefer to be, however they prefer to be communicated. And that's generally it. So my phone is, I use this more than anything. And then once I'm at my computer, that's it. But this is my biggest piece of technology that I use.
That's excellent. Do do you see like certain demographics being more into like texting communication versus calling, or like social media versus email?
Yes. Millennials tend to love this phone. I am a millennial. I've always been in between that millennial and uh, Gen X, I guess they call
Yep.
it. I'm somewhere in there. I graduated 2001, so I'm kind of in there. But they like it. But believe it or not, I have some older clients that are telling me like they're okay or they prefer a text on certain days, or maybe they prefer only email. But majority of my older clientele prefer phone calls.
Okay,
But I like to ask them what their preference is when I first meet them.
that's good.
Ultimately,
That's good because you're
yeah.
really preparing the relationship of the best form of communication. You're also providing the packets to them, like you said previously. And then from you having your channel on um, for your podcast and also YouTube, you're able to really have an exchange of knowledge rather than just like asking from them. I think that's a great reason why you probably don't need to pay for leads right now. So, yeah, that's great for you.
Karen Carr for agents to thank for helping me with that. I'm still learning YouTube, but that's something I enjoy doing. So very
I'm
much.
still learning YouTube as well, so we'll figure it out.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
So now I want to shift over to our last segment of this podcast, which is the tell-all. And you did answer the question of a piece of advice. So we're going to go over to the other two questions. The first is, what is your daily habit? As we know, all successful people have something they do every day to keep their habits positive and strong. So what is yours?
Oh my goodness, I struggled with this when I went from full-time to full-time dual career, I should say, to full-time real estate. But ultimately, getting active in the morning is my biggest thing, and meditation. Um,
Nice.
there have been some mornings where I've worked up too late later than I should have, and I'm like jumping up. But for the most part, I try to stay grounded with getting up and doing something active with my mind and my body every morning, and being thankful to God for all the many things that I have at my disposal, and healthy family. Just focusing on how I can help people. Like, what is the direction I'm going to take? And taking the 7 levels of leadership course, that's one of the things they train you is like on Sunday, you try to plan out your week. And that's something I've gotten pretty much good at. I've gotten much better at, excuse me, at just planning my week on Sunday and trying to be consistent with that. And following up with my clients, I have a schedule where I write down, okay, I'm calling somebody at this time. I have an appointment this day, and everything won't be perfect for the schedule, but I at least try to
Never is.
follow a particular schedule every day.
That is great
So
because that helps you to stay on track and be accountable of what you set out in the beginning of the week. Excellent.
it does. And speaking of accountability, I do have several accountability partners, and they're not all in real estate. I have someone who's in healthcare, and she's been really helpful. We've been helpful to each other, and we had a plan to stick through this accountability from January to June. And both our businesses have really, been doing much better than we would not have had we not had accountability with one another.
That is excellent. I actually just started with my accountability partner as well. And on my list of, we meet every 2 weeks. So the
Yeah.
things I had to accomplish was the first interview, which
Uh-huh.
did it right
Oh,
before the deadline. So
did it.
thank
You're
you.
doing it. That's the best feeling when you like accomplish something and you're like, look, I did it. And not only did I do it, you can see the proof right here.
Yes, exactly. So thank you
That's
for
the best.
sharing that habit. The other question, the last one for the tell-all, is if you could share a book that's transformed you in some way that you could share with the audience.
There's so many, but there's really one, I say two that are neck and neck for me. It's probably gonna be Gary Vee Crushing It,
Nice.
and the 10X rule, because there's so much, they have a lot of things in common. Um, and it has a lot to do with how I was inspired and motivated to continue doing social media and content for my clients. Those two books for me, I first started following Gary Vee, oh, man, back in 2003.
Wow.
I think it was. Whenever his first book, I feel like it's 2003. But anyway, when he first came out, he was nowhere near on the platform that he is now. I never forgot, I heard this loud voice and he's like, cousin, you gotta do this, and what's stopping you? And I was like, I feel like he's talking to me. Because I had a boutique business.
Yeah.
And it really, my boutique business really was doing some great things, and it was because of him. And so all between the sales and marketing with him and this business, I've been able to learn a lot to carry my business and just remind myself that you really have to crush it. You really have you have to keep going in spite of, you can't worry about who's watching, the number of views, because people are watching, people are listening, and you start getting direct messages and emails because they listen and they want to work with you.
Yeah, that is terrific. I love both those books. I've read them both. And I love how both styles, it's like, you're going to do this, you're going to make it happen, no excuses, like just go for it. And I love that mentality.
Yeah, it's like, I love it. He's like, shut up and do the work. Like, shut up and do the work. You sitting here crying about how hard it is. And that's when I feel myself getting in that kind of tight space.
Right.
I got to get out of it because it's easy with the pandemic going on. I think a lot of agents began to freak out, and the first thing you have to ask yourself, if you can look back from 6 weeks ago, what have you been doing? So keep going. And if you got to that point where you look 6 weeks, you didn't do anything, okay, say, hey, slap yourself in the face. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna start doing these 2 or 3 things today.
Exactly. It could just be very small starting off with. Like I have some friends, unfortunately, who have been unemployed over the last couple of weeks. And just as a motivator, I told them very small, maybe just listen to a podcast, watch a YouTube video, read a book for 20 minutes in the day.
Yes.
Or even 10 minutes, read an article. And then slowly you'll build up little by little, and then you'll be very confident to continue on your journey.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. That's some good advice. And it's the kind of advice you kind of have to take yourself sometimes, when you're having those moments. So that's good. That's good that you gave them that advice.
Yeah, exactly. And definitely recommend everyone to read both those books that you mentioned, 10X and Crushing It. So Nia Joy, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, on the podcast. And if you could please tell everyone how they can reach out to you and find more of your amazing content.
Well, thank you so much, Ariel, for having me. And I am going to read that book you mentioned because I love those kind of books where it supports, you use statistics and things like that to support what you're trying to put out there. As for me, if you want to get connected or learn more about the Charleston area, I try to put out content weekly on my podcast and on my YouTube channel. My podcast website is CharlestonReconnection.com. That's CharlestonReconnection.com. And we also have a YouTube channel, GoalDen Spaces by Nia Joy, where GoalDen is spelled GoalDen. Mainly, if you see here, this is my vision board. I'm a highly goal-oriented person, so hence I consider myself my client's golden realtor because I believe in helping them go through their goals to souls. Also, if you want to reach out to me on Facebook, you can find me at Nia Swinton-Jenkins, and I'd love to connect with you.
Terrific. Thank you so much for your time, Nia, and I can't wait to hear more about your journey and listen to more of your podcasts.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on your podcast and the YouTube. I look forward to watching all the great things that you're doing. And, I can't wait to get you here in Charleston and, maybe we can get together and get you on the podcast and show you around. So definitely let's stay in touch.
Yes, we'll do. Thanks.
All right. Well, you take care. I'll chat with you soon.